Hello and welcome to the Philippines, province life in Bohol, the Philippines. My girlfriend recently went over with her family by ferry from Cebu City over to, they landed in Hetafe, the north, kind of the northwest corner of Bohol Island, about an hour trip by fast ferry. And went over there to visit a lot of her family, some from Mindanao, some from Luzon, Manila area, family members that they hadn't seen in 20, 30, 40 years, I think. And anyway, I'm going to show you a little bit around the province, how things are done. This is the Ocean Jet Fast Ferry they got off on, and I'll tell you a little bit about the travel expenses as well. That ferry cost 450 pesos, less than 9 US dollars. And if you're a senior citizen, you get the discount. And I think you need a Filipino senior citizens card. Goes down to 360 pesos instead of 450 pesos. So you save 90 pesos. And then I think it's about a kilometer from the port there. And boy, it's been a year since I've been over to Bohol, I think. And man, they're doing a lot of construction and upgrading of that pier, and more ferries are coming in there, planning to come in there at Hetafe. I think they got ferries to Tubagan, to Telebon, maybe to Hetafe, and just found out that they actually even have a ferry Cebu over to Ubay as well, which is their destination here. That's where where she grew up till she was about 18. Then family moved to Mactan. Anyway, the tricycle ride, I think they had seven family members in this tricycle, and I think they charged 20 pesos each, less than 40 US cents to take them. I think more than a kilometer, a little longer than a kilometer, more than half a mile, less than a mile probably. You could walk it, but for 20 pesos, worth the tricycle ride. And then they're going to get in a van, and I'll show you that. Boy, you get cramped in these vans. If you can take an air-conditioned bus instead of one of these little V-hire, van for hire type things that run regular routes, different parts of the Philippines, boy, they pack them in there. I know, gosh, a month or so ago, I was going to go to Mactan. I decided to take public transportation and went over to Ayala to their public utility vehicle area, and it looked like the van was ready to go, packed in. And I asked the guy, when are we leaving? He said, when we get full. I thought we were full with me getting on the last seat, but in the next 20 minutes, they were able to pack two more people in there than we left. Anyway, these are vans that run regular routes, and they'll sit there until they pretty much fill up. They pack them in there, and you're going to get a look here in just a few seconds or minutes how they pack those vans in. Now, we are in a drought situation in the Philippines. 4 years ago, 2019, there was a drought, and 4 years before that, 2015, there was a drought. And parts of Bohol, the water is on again, off again. And when they checked into a hotel, and I'll show you the hotel family room, they were told that you'll have water sometimes you won't have water. So it was difficult timing their shower, because they might be halfway through a shower and the water might go off. Anyway, these are those 12, 15 passenger vans, and they pack them in, and they usually leave when they have a full load. And they can also drop people off and pick people up along the route also. People don't have to go to the terminal to get on. And this is J&N, I believe this is called J&N Hotel. Because there's a Fiesta in the province, they said they checked a couple places. I warned them to try to make reservations ahead of time, but almost none of the places are listed on Agoda or Booking.com. And I think they had seven family members Big kitchen table there for everybody to use, enough for two people anyway. Three beds and one CR, and the CR that wasn't really a shower. It was we fill up a pail with water and use a cup type thing to pour water over yourself. No hot water in this particular place, and this was the last room available. 2,000 peso. Now this particular, if you're in the province, you're probably going to take a tricycle. A lot of destinations, and minimum fare, depending upon what region you're in, could be 10, or a lot of places now it's 20 peso minimum to go around town. Now they're going out to their barangay, their village out in the country, about 8 kilometers, or a little less than 5 miles, I think, and cost them 50 pesos a piece, less than $1. So yeah, my girlfriend took quite a bit of video in Ubay and out in the province and some of the roads I'd been on before. I'm really surprised at the infrastructure improvements I've seen in town and out in the country. The narrow little, really bad roads we drove on over a year ago have been widened, and they're planning on paving a lot of those country roads, and have paved some of those country roads. So pretty impressed with the infrastructure improvement going on. I grew up in the country in southern Minnesota, and I know the politicians every election year, elect me and we're gonna pave this road. We had a gravel road when I was a kid out front, and maybe 10 years later somebody actually put some pavement down on those dusty gravel roads. Ubay is not a big tourist destination, I don't think, although my girlfriend said she saw 4 other foreign men at the Fiesta out in the province. Anyway, a lot of times vendors will come to you. Fresh fish on ice, caught, and I had to turn the volume way, way down. You can still hear him in the background. He's got a big speaker system, and he's blasting out to everybody the prices of his fish, what type of fish he has, and the prices for the fish, and then he drives up and down the streets till he sells it all and goes back and gets another batch. If I lived in the province, I would want to have a large garden, just like we did when I was a child. Grow a lot of my own food at 50 pesos a trip on into town. That adds up if you're going in quite often. I would also definitely have some kind of solar set up and battery backup so I could store if there's a brownout, a blackout for a day or two or week, whatever it would turn into. I could live in the province. Ubay, I think, was about 82,000 last census, and they're thinking they're going to be 100,000 by the year 2030. Now compare that to Tagbilaran, which is a little bit larger. I think they were like 105,000 versus 82,000. Not that much different, but it's location. They are right next to, in fact, the causeway is going over to Panglao Island, which is a very popular tourist destination. And Ubay doesn't really have any malls, I don't think. They've got a couple of stores, something like a Pamida or Dollar General, dollar store, something like that, department store. But Tagbilaran City in the south has several malls. Not anything like the Ayala Mall or the SM Mall in Cebu City, but they've got pretty much everything you need. They've got hardware stores, food stores. You're going to have fewer choices. Even there, you're going to have fewer choices in imported foreign goods, but you can find some of that stuff. If I lived in the province, I would want to live closer to a little larger city like Tagbilaran, Iloilo City, Bacolod City, either in the city or just a little ways outside the city. Generally, your prices drop substantially. Some of the food prices over here were not that cheap. Some are a lot cheaper once you get in the province. Others are not. They might even be a little more expensive. It depends upon the shipping cost, where it's coming from. What about water? Once you get out of the city, you're going to be looking at well water, and hopefully they've got some deep wells versus shallow wells, because there's an issue with these shallow wells, and I don't know how shallow a shallow well is or how deep a deep well is. I've asked some people, they couldn't tell me how deep they were. But this is a deep well, and the people drink out of here. They use it for their washing, for their drinking, for their cooking, and all that type of thing. And they're washing their clothes, and that is the one of several community deep wells, I believe. If you and your wife had property on an island, you could dig your own well, and I've seen videos of people doing that. I don't know what kind of regulations there are. If you need to have permits to do that, or you just dig away and worry about the consequences later. Where I grew up on a farm, we had really good tasting well water up until I think I was in high school. And then the city, the experts came in one day and said, "We've tested all the wells out here in the country." We lived 9 and 10 miles from two different towns that were 20 to 30,000 or 2,000 to 3,000 population. And they said, your water is contaminated with fertilizers and agricultural runoff, all that type of thing. You're not going to be able to use it anymore. We're going to run pipelines from the water treatment plant out to all the country homes. And over the course of a couple of years, they did that. Anyway, things to think about if you want to move to the province. Being self-sustained up to a certain degree. I think I would still want to run this through some type of water filter in my house before I would drink it myself. I've got a little more sensitive stomach. The Filipinos can eat a lot of stuff that, boy, when I eat the same thing, man, I get that pain in the stomach very quickly, saying, I'm not used to this. This isn't what I expect you to send down into my stomach. Anyway, these girls were walking down to the beach, and we're going to visit the beach here in a bit. The other issue, if you're out a long ways, is from a bigger city, is you're quite a ways from a major medical center. And I think Tagbilaran has some pretty good hospital medical centers there, but I know a number of years ago there was a blogger that had an appendicitis attack, and I think the hospital, if I remember the story correctly, the hospital in Tagbilaran said, we're not set up to handle this, or a lot of these province doctors, they actually come over. Doctors that I've met here, they'll tell me, I'm over on Bohol on Thursday and Friday, so I won't be here. So a lot of doctors from the big city go and visit the provincial hospitals. He may not be there on the day you get ill or have your accident. So they sent a nurse with him late at night on a ferry back to Cebu City into a hospital over here. So the question is, I have done videos about the pros and cons of living in the city versus the province, the country. In reality, every place, just like every place in the U.S., is in a state, unless it's a territory. Anyway, a province, every place is in a province, but the way the word province is used here generally means, and I've had many people tell me when I came here the first few years, "Sir, go to find a girl in the province. They haven't been corrupted by materialism and this type of thing. The good girls are out in the province," meaning out of the big city, basically. I could adapt out to the province. I would want my own transportation, motorbike or car, something, travel around. I've met a couple people on other smaller islands, foreigners who were married, that told me, I've told me that they've explored every inch of the island that they're living on, and they need to take a trip to Cebu City or some other place once a month at least to do some shopping, get things at S&R, just to get out of town, to get a break from the smaller town, the limited things you have in the grocery stores, depending upon your food choices. If you're happy living, they've got plenty of choices. It's just that if you want more of the Western type things, somebody told me many years ago, I think it was on Camotes Island, much smaller island than Bohol. He said that if you don't, they process one cow early Sunday morning. So if you don't go down there and get some meat at that point in time, you're not going to have any beef the rest of the week. Looks like a little place up there. Maybe that was where the Fiesta was. A lot of tables set up with tablecloths on it. Not sure. They had a disco till the wee hours of the morning, I hear, with the disco flashing lights and loud music. Um, Many people cook with wood out here, especially, well, if there's an abundance of wood, going collecting wood. And my girlfriend said when she was young, that was one of her jobs, go out each day and collect wood for the fire. And cooking a big pot of rice, I think, for the family, everybody that went out there. There were a few of the family members that stayed. They packed them in. They made room for their relatives. Some of them stayed in town at the hotel. And yeah, let's see, wood or I think charcoal would be the next most popular. And probably propane, number three, propane stove type thing. Electric bills cost, so very few people would use electric cooking devices, I think. That's another thing to check. Some of these islands, I think like Camotes, guy told me your electric bill might be higher than your rent here because everything is running on diesel generators on the whole island. Now, I think there were plans to bring electrical wires in from Leyte and or Cebu over to Bohol, over to Camotes Island. Not sure if that's done yet. I will put up a map, kind of show you the area and how they got over there here in just a little bit. But let's see, what else information can I give you? I think the cost of the trip is in there. Of course, there was other food. The hotel cost $2,000 a night for the family room, included like 7 people, I think. And of course, they ate different places. They had some of their own rice along, I think. And for the Fiesta, of course, there's different foods and drinks going around. So there's a few things to check out if you're thinking about moving to the province or any other town or city. Water reliability, availability, and reliability. Even in 2019 with the drought in Cebu City, there were areas that didn't have water, and they had to get up the middle of the night and hope that the water delivery truck was coming so they could fill their containers. So water, number one, reliability, either have your own well that's deep enough so that it will survive a drought. Number two, electricity, reliability. Number three, internet and cellular reliability. Now, where she was staying out here, 8 kilometers from the city, the cellular was a little bit iffy. Depends on where she was, I think. She would lose her connection sometimes, as well as the internet, the data side. So check that out. I know a vlogger many years ago. He moved out of the city, I think south of Dumaguete, and found out after he moved there's no internet. and I think he had to pay extra for them to run a line, which was going to take maybe a month or longer. Run a line from the main road up to where he was renting. So check those types of things out. Medical facilities. How far away are you from a good medical facility? Would be important. Transportation. If you need to get to a bigger city like Cebu City, Iloilo City, Bacolod City, Davao, something like that, Manila. How far away are you? How long will it take? Important things to think about. Anyway, let me put this map up, tell you a little bit about the area and the trip. Jumping over to Google Maps, this is Bohol Island. This is Ubay up here, the province of Ubay, and city of Ubay right around in here, I think. And there's actually this something that happened fairly recently. I think there is actually a ferry from here back over to Cebu City. And but a lot of people take a ferry over here to Hitafi or Talabon, or you can even take a ferry to Tubagon. I think a friend of mine who had a motorbike went to Tubagon because there's a roll on, roll off ferry that he could take his motorbike on over there. So you've got Cebu City, Mandaue City, you got Mactan Island with the international airport, Olongo Island, and Hitafi here. Trinidad, and Ubay over here. Leyte over here, almost you can see it from over here. It's almost a stone's throw away if you've got a really good arm. You've got Anda down here. Got some white sand beaches here in Anda. Interesting place. And you've got Panglao Island down here, very popular with tourists and diving, snorkeling enthusiasts. And just for your information, from Hitafi over here is just about an hour ferry ride, I believe, and they took a fast ferry across. Used to be a slower. I took a motor banca across, maybe an hour and 20 minutes, something like that. And of course, depending upon where you're going, if you take a ferry, a very popular trip, ferry down to Tagbilaran down here, the largest city on Bohol. An hour and a half, a little longer than that, maybe. Less than 2 hours, I think. So the question is, would you live in the province? And if you would live in the province, what type of area would you live in? How far from the big city? What type of precautions would you take with food, electric, water, to sustain yourself in case of a blackout or water shortage, all that type of thing? And there's all kinds of information on the internet about prepping, but it's important to think about, especially when you're out of the big city. There's certain things you expect and generally get in the bigger city, certain conveniences that are more likely to be disrupted. But on the other hand, you can get so dependent upon the conveniences and having things available anytime you want them, pretty much, that you don't prep. You don't plan for the emergencies. Like more than 2 years ago, Typhoon Odette came through here, and it's very rare that typhoon keeps its strength up when it gets through Cebu City, but it definitely did, and it out of electricity for a couple of weeks. Even the backup generators ran out of diesel fuel. I had a small solar generator, or a small solar panel, that kept my phone charged up. But if your internet is down, you don't have any internet, you don't have cellular service for, I don't know, it was more than a week, I think, before cell service came back, and before it was reliable at all, a couple weeks later. Anyway, thanks for coming along. Looking forward to hearing some thoughts and comments, and we'll see y'all later.